Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. The Reticle Up podcast is produced in partnership with AmericanFirearms.org. American Firearms' mission is to recommend what works. We believe everyone deserves access to unbiased, helpful information about firearms, and our buying guides, product reviews, and learning resources are designed to help real people find the stuff that will work best for them. Check us out at www.americanfirearms.org. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reticle Up podcast. This will be the first podcast actually for 2023. And I'm joined by my buddy Chris Hutchison. So he is a 3-gunner, active duty special operations dude as well. I mean, he does a lot on the back end with all sorts of shooting competitions that involve multiple guns. So Chris, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, that was a great introduction.
Solid, I know.
Perfect.
I know nothing.
That's all that's required.
No, I know nothing about
He likes to shoot guns. That's all that matters.
Yeah, not just one though. We have to have multiple guns.
Yeah, one's lame.
Very lame.
Sorry, JJ Racaza, but one is lame. Yeah.
I agree. You know, I saw him at SHOT Show, and he had to do a cowboy action demo, which was more than one gun.
Oh, I love JJ. I've got to spend a little bit amount of time with JJ, but man, one gun. That's it. Come on, you got to master more than one.
I agree, and Beretta has some of the best shotguns out there. I mean,
oh my gosh, I know, right? Like you literally have you can get it all. But
exactly, very disappointing, JJ. I hope he'll never listen to this, but
we all love JJ, most humble guy out there, truly.
He really is.
How was SHOT Show? How was SHOT?
It was different.
Sounded like it was a little bit of an adventure.
Yeah, it was an adventure for me. But besides that, the show was weird because last year I went where it was like very intimate. Nobody was there. This year it was sold out show, completely packed. I think they said 52,000 something people. Yeah.
Holy cow.
So it was like 9-day difference because like the media was back and it was just chaos. I don't know if you saw the range day, but it was 35-mile-per-hour winds and like 30-degree weather.
That was crazy. Yeah.
That was the worst time I've ever had on Earth. Like, it was fun, but it was the worst time to try to film or talk or function.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
I actually missed our 3-gun Fall Brawl weather over that weather.
I'll tell you what, the Fall Brawl weather was it was very mild compared to what that looked like.
So mild.
Sure. Like, when your shotguns don't run because they're so cold, like, I don't know, still that Las Vegas wind.
Oh, it was awful.
It was terrible, so.
I'm still reeling over how the hell you got a stage win in 19-degree weather, first shooter on one of the days, and I'm like, he pulled that out of his ass, all 3 guns.
Luck and a red dot on a pistol.
I have one too, but a stage win, bro.
It was like, I just got to get this done. Well, especially after day one, where having a shotgun not run at all, I think there's the majority of the places that we shoot. I've never gone and shot anywhere in like Wisconsin, Minnesota, anywhere like that. I'm from Idaho, but even Idaho, like the matches are normally don't go into the winter months like we do here in North Carolina. So, or North Carolina, South Carolina sort of stuff. So you don't ever think like, hey, like what type of oil are you using on your shotguns? Have you run it? Or gun in particular, right? And especially shotguns. And it was like one of those where like my shotgun just wouldn't run. And you talk to guys like Matt Martini and stuff. They're like, well, what kind of lube are you running? Like, I'm running the Lucas oil, whatever. They're like, oh, bro, you got to do this, and you're like, oh, that's another lesson learned that that's another thing I can add up on my board of like lessons learned in matches is what temperature will your oil run at?
Yep. It's really, really frustrating to learn the hard way. Bless your heart. We'll talk about that whole match actually, because I didn't think you were going to be with us on the 3rd day.
I was ready to be done. Oh, that was bad.
So, for those listening, Well, my gun didn't work either, my pistol. But I was gonna say, normally I have all of the gun issues. So you went through two no? Well, you didn't have your shotgun run. You didn't have your rifle run. You were on your backup rifle.
I went through two rifles. Yeah,
Yep.
some shotgun, got my shotgun running, 2 rifles.
And we weren't sure. Oh, I was scared to talk to you at that long range stage. So what happened? So like for people listening that have never shot a 3-gun or they've never experienced this, like can you share like what happened, what was going through your mind, and how you fixed like all of those issues throughout the weekend?
So first issue was shotgun. Again, the way that a shotgun runs is the breech or the chamber of the shotgun doesn't normally heat up. So like with a rifle or a pistol, like you get a couple shots off, it starts heating up. Regardless, kind of any lubricant you're running will heat up. The shotgun didn't do that. So what ended up happening is my shotgun turned into a single shot shotgun on the most part because it wasn't cycling the rounds, and it was. So that was the first morning, and I think it was 22 to 20 something degrees.
It was below 0, and
yeah, it was.
You were right after me each stage, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was like 20 something degrees. First thing in the morning, the majority of our stage was in the shade. Mm-hmm. I thought I was going to shoot earlier, so I set my shotgun on the table, and an hour later I shot it. So essentially my shotgun was below freezing and didn't cycle, which is, I was an idiot. Learned that lesson. Rifle, what I found out was, so I shoot for Hutchison Arms, and phenomenal company, amazing rifles. But with their one of their new guns, yeah, look at that thing.
Just sitting on my rack.
That's the FFT right there. Yeah, look at that thing, is sexy.
There you go.
I love how they've so with the new ones with the Hutchison Arms, they're carbon fiber. The big thing with them is they're carbon fiber. Well, they have a lot of excess when they make their handguards, their barrels, and all stuff. So what they've done with their new ones, they've kind of recycled the carbon fiber, made it into buttstocks and all this stuff. So that's why that one looks like that. It's like a recycled carbon fiber,
that's super
which is awesome. Yeah, so like you can see they've used all the carbon fiber to lighten it, which is incredible. With mine, what I discovered was that the tolerance between the handguard and the barrel, it was so small. I had like a normal size M-LOK rail mount on the bottom, because when I zero, I'll put a bipod on, and of course, I'll zero with the bipod, make sure everything's good. Well, I had that M-LOK on there, and it was pushing against my barrel. So when I was zeroing and I was truing, I think I only turned out to like 2. Biggest long range stage we had at Fall Brawl. We had a section where we shot six targets across the hillside. This was one of the positions, and 4 of them were over 500. I think they were between like 500 and 570, and I was 6-ish feet off, which was crazy. And what it was my M-LOK screws were putting pressure on my barrel. Ooh. And it was throwing it off. And I learned a long time ago, shooting a lot with guys like Joe Farewell and Matt Martini, especially with rifles, like bringing a backup rifle. So I switched out to my backup rifle, and the rest of the weekend I had no issues.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. It was the M-LOK screws were pushing against the barrel, and the harmonics were off, and it was at 500 it was throwing rounds off like 6 feet.
God, yeah. That was just me not pointing and aiming correctly. So dude, I hit 3 on that stage.
That was
that was painful. It was so painful. Y'all, I don't so I remember posting like videos in the morning, like rolling up to the range, it was like frost everywhere, ice everywhere, and people were like, y'all are insane. I was like, no, I love 3-gun, and I still do. But when they tacked on that little extra stage in the freezing cold with the wind at the very end of the day, I'm like, oh, kill me now.
Oh, yeah. Those mornings were
brutal.
Crisp. It was like, I can't remember what stage it was, but one of the stages they like wanted us to start. It was the stage I went first.
Yep.
And they were like, we're ready to go. And I was like, no,
I was me. I was
The
like,
match
what are we
says we
doing?
start at 9:00. I'm not shooting until 9:00. Like, I was like, nope, it is too cold to do that.
And it wouldn't matter. It warmed up a half of a degree.
Yeah, it did. It was freezing cold.
Oh my God. So, I mean, you're super spoiled though, because you have Zoo City Armory in your backyard and you guys shoot a lot with those guys. That was my first time shooting one of their matches and it will not be my last. Like we're shooting the Battle for the South and I'm planning on doing Fall Brawl again. I mean, talk about how spoiled you are though with their targets, their stage plans, their match directing, their organization skills as men. Like, it's incredible.
It's, the thing I like about the Zoo City guys. So the Zoo City guys, it's Jason Byerly, it's Chris Brower, Buddy Brown, and John Sherber. That's who run the Zoo City matches when the major matches. The local matches, it's essentially Jason and Chris, and then how like Max and guys help. But I think the thing with them is it's humility. They're all shooters, and they all just want all they want is just a good match. There's no like look at us, we're doing this new cool thing or whatever. Like all those guys want to do is put something on that like people are having fun with, and at the end of the day they're high fiving them and stuff. And what's really cool with those guys is the Zoo City kind of was established as I didn't start shooting at all competitively until 2017. But even that, I didn't really actually shoot like a true competitive season until about 2020.
Okay.
I think 17
Great year.
and 18.
You chose a great year to start.
I know, great year. Well, what was nice about it is, again, the only people in the entire nation that were shooting matches was Zoo City. I remember Keith Garcia wrote me one time and was like, dude, I'm really jealous that you guys are shooting matches.
Yeah.
Because we were the only ones shooting matches in 2020. And I didn't have anything to do, so I'd go to Zoo City, and me and Jason and some other guys would just practice like 2 or 3 times a week. But like I started shooting 17, I think 17, 18, I shot 4 matches total. Terrible. I was just getting into it. 19, I shot a few. I think I shot like I shot like the Surefire or the Pro-Am, the old Pro-Am, Rock Castle. And then 2020 was really kind of where I started shooting, but that was kind of the year that 19 was kind of the year that Zoo City transitioned into Zoo City, and went from there. And we're really blessed to have those guys. They've continued to put on you come to like one of our local matches and people are like, man, this is like going to a regional match. The caliber of the match, the caliber of the shooter. Geez, if you were to come to just like last weekend, I didn't shoot this last weekend, but Martine and a bunch of those guys are like, you like look at like who shoots on a weekly basis out here, and you have like top 10 shooters.
RJ, Matt Kalish,
RJ and Matt, and JP before JP left. You got guys like Bobby and all
the
Tom McCaskill. I mean, come on, we're really blessed. But I think what makes Zoo City cool is they're just really humble guys.
Yeah,
like they're just dudes you just want to hang out with.
Yep. And shoot the shit for sure. Because I mean, that's what they made it like a community. The shoot off was fun. I'd never done a shoot off. I will never do a shoot off again. But
oh, come on, you gotta do another one,
bro. Okay,
it was so much fun
for you, bro. For you in 2 years.
Come on, that was
in fun. 2 years. If I can get my rifle like shit together and actually hit target, and this is my own fault, I'm just not a rifle shooter. Then I think I would have a chance because there's a few dudes that could probably beat me with a red dot pistol, but not many.
Not many. Your red dot pistol skills are like on point.
Thanks. That took a bit. And then like shotgun, I just fumbled the last one on each time. But no. Shoot-offs were cool, but I was gonna say there wasn't drinking, but there was drinking, there's food, there was like a lot of camaraderie, after the match, which was really important. So I think they did a great job. I want to talk about their divisions too.
Yeah.
I don't know enough to know about the Carry Optics division outside of that. That was the first time I had seen Carry Optics as a division in 3-gun, which for people listening, it was just throwing a red dot in the pistol, which I feel like, I mean, I carry with a red dot. I think a lot of people do. Carry Optics is the highest now attendance in USPSA for, that pistol division.
Yep.
That is a fun freaking division.
That is.
So when did that come about? I mean, did they just start doing it randomly?
Yeah. So kind of the same time that Carry Optics came out in USPSA, Jason kind of saw a need in three-gun. The cool thing was out there in Asheboro where the Zoo City match started, we have a lot of older gentlemen that come out and, they lose their eyesight or whatever. And
Yep.
Red Dot has really kind of made shooting fun for them again. It's actually like Chris, when Snappy went from Tac Optics to Open, part of it was just him wanting to shoot a red dot. So Jason kind of saw the need when USPSA came out with the red dot on a pistol and put it in our matches, and it just never stopped. I mean, on the most part, you get about 60-40% of the shooters. I would say 60% on a normal three-gun weekend is Tac Optics or practical, and then the other 40% are Carry Optics. As far as in those those two divisions, and of course we still have Open.
Right.
But what is really cool with Carry Optics is so for people that have never shot a Zoo City Armory match or a Jason Marley is the match director, it is the most optional matches you'll ever shoot.
Ever.
And that's what I love about it. I love that it's not like shoot pistol here, shoot rifle here, shoot shotgun, you're done. Mm-hmm. It's like it's kind of what you want to do. And they're gonna have targets that you could literally shoot. I think on our second to last stage is stage 10, the bus stage. Mm-hmm. They had 3 orange pieces still at 50, and it was 2 pistol, 1 slug, 1 rifle. Or no, I'm sorry, no, it wasn't rifle.
Rifle. Yeah. It
wasn't rifle.
Yeah.
Normally he has rifle, but it was like slug or pistol, and they were just enough where it was like, ooh, I don't know. Yep. But Jason does that for a reason, and he does it because you get the guys like Tom McCaskill that you put a pistol and a red dot, on their in their hands, and they're going to just dominate. And you have other guys that, especially in the Tac Optics, that aren't really comfortable with pistols, so they're going to shoot shotgun. And that's what I love about it. Is like this was the first match I shot, the first major I shot Carry Optics on.
Yeah,
and I definitely on the most part shot pistol when I could.
I wish I had done that a little bit more. So I did avoid the shotgun as much as I could because reloading time takes forever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the mini tiny targets down at the ground where I had open shotguns, they were just like, I'm a shotgun it, and I pistoled it. Yeah. You and I both did the bus stage with just rifle and pistol and skipped the shotgun altogether. But again, hindsight, but it was still fun to shoot scatter. My scatter gun for sure. And the shoot house was you did the triple Texas Star with a pistol. I should have done that in hindsight.
It was, that's what I love about his matches. It's super optional.
Yeah.
So it's like, you put a red dot on a pistol. I went from my Tac Optics pistols, an Atlas Hyperion. I shot a Glock 34 with a red dot. I'll tell you what, I shot that Glock 34 with the red dot probably way better than I did with the Atlas Hyperion for this match, which was awesome. And part of it for me is this year or last season I mainly shot a few 3-gun matches. Mainly I shot the Griffin Group Rumbles and the Proving Grounds, which you can shoot a red dot. And so for me it made a lot of sense because I ran a red dot all season.
Yeah.
And when you're smoked and you're carrying a 200-pound dummy, it makes a big difference when you pull out a pistol and there's a red dot on there. So when you go to a 3-gun match and there's a red dot, it's like, this is easy,
Yes. So I want to get to Proving Grounds in a second, but okay. There's a lot of hype. Battle for the South is coming up over this heavy division, and I don't understand why. So, okay. First of all, I know there's a couple of people in this whole 3-gun industry that keeps heavy division around. I know people that, oh my gosh, I have Hurley Ryder. He still does iron sights on his rifle and dials the rifle, and he's so good at it. So talk about for people listening, like what is heavy division? What are the gun requirements? And why are you guys all switching to heavy for this match?
So heavy division is it's a 308 or higher rifle, and then some heavy for a long time was 45. Zeus City and some others do 40, so it's 40 caliber or higher. And what it notorious has been is, a long time ago, you talk to guys like Chris Weisman, pump shotgun and all stuff.
Yep.
We kind of got away from that just because, one, it makes the match go significantly slower. And when you have a division that slows it down, so, it's a 308, the capacity that you can at 308, guys like Matt Kalish, went out and spent $200 on a freaking 50-round, Magpul, T-Mag, that he loves to brag about, that I won't purchase here in a little, I don't want to purchase. But then, either 40 caliber or 45. Now, what I will say is a big group of us decided to shoot heavy for this. One, just because, Matt Kalish has monopolized the industry. Sure. And, that dude has won heavy on everything. And, there's a group of us that we just want to challenge Matt. He's like the freaking best dude ever.
He is. The nicest dude.
Part of it.
Yeah, I was about to say the nicest dude, the biggest teddy bear, the nicest dude, a total furry teddy bear. And I mean, I love Matt, but you look at him, he's like, this dude can't just smoke everyone in every division that you could possibly shoot. Oh, yeah. Yes, he can.
He can. Matt, I remember when Matt started shooting, came out of nowhere. The guy started coming to the matches, and it was a guy like unassuming, right?
Yep.
Matt's just a big
dude,
strong dude. Actually, the first time I'd shot with Matt a few times, we kind of were friends. First time we actually ever shot together truly was tactical games in Georgia in 2018, I think. Okay. And we had like the best time. And then we became like really good friends. But yeah, Matt's like super unassuming. But man, anytime like Matt shoots something, like Matt's gonna win it or do really well. And Matt has kind of monopolized the heavy division. I think one thing that's kind of cool with Multigun is there are a lot of really cool divisions out there. Like limited and stuff like that. And everybody wants to shoot the like one thing, and part of it is a lot of people want to shoot a certain division based on the prize table. And they go, okay, well, if the majority of us shoot tac optics prize table is significantly bigger, and I have a better chance. And that is true, but to me, it's like it's challenging, and it's challenging to like be able to shoot multiple disciplines, and so with this, it actually kind of started. It was Matt shooting heavy, and Patrick Beckham was like, I'm gonna beat Matt. And so he starts talking crap on social media, and here comes JK, and JK jumps on there, and he's like, I'm going to sign up. And then he starts talking crap to Patrick. Then lo and behold, now we have freaking Matt Martini shooting, myself, Joe Farewell.
I'm trying to convince Scott to shoot heavy too. He's like, should I? I was like, hell yeah. Also,
memes.
Yeah,
Scott, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, the memes though, from JK, I don't know. Like, I still don't know the answer whether or not he likes Patrick or doesn't like Patrick.
Oh no, we love Patrick.
After reading the memes, I was like, holy shit.
But we love Patrick. Yeah,
our three-gun community.
JK, it's like, you know what? You want to talk crap, like, and JK is taking it to a whole new level. And I think the fun of it is just shooting outside. Like I had a Glock 22 for a long time. I got rid of it because I was like, I'll never shoot this again. So I'm borrowing a Glock 35 for this match. I have a AR-10 that I'm gonna run. I'm like buying mag pouches again that I don't have anything for 308. So it's like, but I think it's just gonna be fun, and they're gonna put us all in a squad. And Matt Kalish said it best. He goes, I just want us to be just loud and just fast and just, and so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We have gotten the Zoo City guys to change the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
We're kind of mirroring tac optics. as far as the rule set. So it used to be back in the day, it was 10 rounds per mag.
Yeah.
That was based off everybody was shooting 1911.
You're right.
Those days have kind of gone. So what we've asked is, for a true, 100 and what is it, the
140 millimeter. Yeah.
Yeah, 140 millimeter mag, and then like rifles, whatever, and then shotgun, just a regular R12, like a regular 12 round two.
Yeah.
Because it would be different if the Zoo City matches. It's one on paper for heavy. Oh, that's the other thing. So heavy, it's one on paper for rifle.
They're expensive. That's like triple the cost.
Expensive. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But Jason builds his matches with a ton of steel.
Yeah.
So we're like looking at it, and we're like, okay, so it's one on paper, but man, if there's double this amount of steel, like it kind of, you're reloading 4 times, and that's a lot of reloads. So we're gonna go with the 140, millimeter.
I feel like I need to be on this squad to document video.
Oh, you need to be on this squad. Okay. Well, squatting opens on the 1st, right?
No, it's like tomorrow. Tomorrow? Wednesday. There's a Wednesday? First in between. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Yes, Wednesday. Yes, squatting.
Okay, I need to video all of the trash talking, take the photos of this heavy. It'll be an article I might write of like revival of the heavy division in the South.
So like we have like a huge group chat right now, and it literally says "Make heavy great again." Like,
Okay,
so,
you guys should make shirts or hats to match.
Oh, we need I think it's going to be awesome, and I think what's fun is nobody's taking it like super serious. You know what I mean? Like you look at who's shooting heavy right now. Like we got some like big hitters, and like guys are like, I'm going to shoot heavy. The fact that we got Farewell doing it, Martini and Kalish and all those guys, and I'm hoping to get more, but I think it'll be just a hoot.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be
project.
Awesome. Well, we got to get you in the squad though, so you got to document it.
I know, 100%. I really am looking at the article in my head, like the heavies brought back by like normally that's a boomer type thing, but no, we got to bring it back.
Well, like you go to like USPSA nationals and stuff, and you look at like limited and heavy. You'll get like 5 shooters.
5 people, yeah.
And what bothers me with an organization claiming a national title, is like you can show up and shoot with 5 other people, like, I took 3rd place in national.
So I'm really glad you brought that up, and people are not going to like me for saying that, but it's the same thing with division or category, not being a dude and anything else, right? Senior law enforcement, female, and I look at it and it's like, oh, national title champion. I look at it and you're like, okay, you're the GM. There's like 4 other to hit the requirements, and they're all D class. And there's just somebody's wife or somebody signed up, and I'm just like, and then you look down, you're 500th out of 501 shooters or whatever it is, right? Being dramatic here, but I'm like, I don't think I could ever advertise that sometimes for not even earning it, or like just people that know, like you and I would look up practice score and be like, really?
Yeah. I think we need to fix the female, like we always do top lady, but what does that mean? Right? Like it's just different, right? Like I want to see, like I would prefer, and I really like how Fall Brawl did it, where they had like like females had like their own prize table, and they had like their own, like I would like to see that take off and be tweaked a little bit, but like I would like to see where it's like you're going against those people. Yeah, like let's see who the freaking best of the best are, and not be compared. If you shoot like a major match that has 220 shooters and you're number 35, and what I don't like either, and it's I've never liked. You're gonna have like a top military or whatever. Like you can't. To me, like picking it out of open. Yeah. Or whatever, it just doesn't make sense. Or overall, of course. Figure that out. It's, don't get me wrong, I love the AMU guys, Joel and Nate and all those guys are good friends, but it's even like I look at like top military, I'm like, you will get, your whole job is to do that. Yeah. And you have other people that their jobs are different.
You should be like non-paid military to shoot.
But like not like operational or whatever.
Yes. What happens in USPSA too, John Browning?
Yeah, it's there. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect,
Yeah.
and then you could also I have seen, especially with the females, I've seen somebody jump over to the open side shooting tack optics stuff just so they can win top
Mhm.
female.
I think we're thinking
You
of the
know,
same person, but
yeah. And to me, it's like I don't know. It's just it just it's got to be. I guess a little sketchy or whatever. You know,
yeah.
I'd like to see it be like a real like fair sort of assessment. But I do really like how the Fall Brawl did like a female table this year, and Christy Carr Tate's the one that did that. She
She's a
freaking
sweetheart.
worked her butt off, and
Yeah.
I love her to death. She's just the biggest sweetheart.
Well, we have our ladies
And
invasion match coming up too for those listening. Like Christy, make sure that happens every year in March in Atlanta, Georgia area. So that's the best. And all these females, they fly in, they drive in, they camp. It's like a 3-4 day thing. So I'm looking forward to that.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I dragged a friend down that's never shot 3-gun or up. She doesn't really know it. So she's shooting the one day with the 1-gun. She's also shooting the 3-gun on the next day, but she has no clue.
That's awesome.
So
That's
Malin, this is your first 3-gun match.
well, hey, by the way, you're gonna shoot a 3-gun match.
Yep, you'll learn
Heck
how
yeah,
to
that's awesome.
double load on that day. It'll be great. It'll be fine.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. That's what that match's all about, really. Okay, before I lose track of this, I want to go back to the proving grounds because that's something that's sort of newish, or maybe it's newish for a lot of people that are finding out about it right now. So, what is it? Where are these matches held? I mean, this is nothing. It's not like the tactical games, or like how are the rules? Explain.
So well, there's kind of two. So the original really is still done by John Sherbert. And even man, it's been a long time ago. They used to call it the Battle Rattle. It was actually held out there where Sioux City is. Then John went to the TRC, the range complex, and ran the Battle Rattle for a long time. I actually never got to shoot a Battle Rattle. And then he went to Griffin Group and he renamed it to the Rumble. So essentially, it's body armor, depending on what division. Depends on like the weight. It's either going to be 12 pounds, 12 or 20 pound kit. And then it's kind of like run what you want to run. So you can run whatever you want as a pistol, whatever you want as a rifle. I mean, if you want to run like a bipod in a bag, the only stipulation with Sherb, the way the Rumble runs, is you have to carry that thing for the whole stage. So, like, if you want to run a bipod, cool, but the bipod has to be attached, and you have to run the whole bipod. It's not like open where you can just like put it down on a tripod.
You mean you can start with a tripod and open, pointing at the target, so when you go.
I know, pointed with the bag
what
on
the
it,
hell?
sitting there.
What the hell?
300 yards down range. Yeah. You can't do that.
Or Multigun Nationals last year was called Tripod Nationals. Okay, but continue.
No, that's true. The Multigun Nationals I shot in 2020 was that way. There was a stage where like they were all using like the same tripod, and it was like there's Mike Sexton and all those guys, and they were just like beep, and like okay, whatever, it's open.
Ridiculous.
But no, like the way the Rumble is if you want to run something, learn a bag or a bipod, you have to carry it. You can change it per stage. So there was I've actually run a stage where like I run a bipod, I run a stage where I had like a bag on. But it's pretty. The way that Sure runs is pretty heavy. Like you're going to do something fitness wise that is going to crush your soul. I think one stage last year he had the elite guys. We were carrying a 150-pound sandbag to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shooting positions. It was, or maybe it was 6 shooting positions, 3 pistol, 3 rifle. But like you're carrying it, you're dropping it, then you're shooting like strong side, weak side pistol, reholstering, grabbing this thing, moving it. It's like I think the way he runs it's 5-minute timeout, stage timeouts.
Yeah,
and it is a smoke fest. Now the proving grounds is very, very similar. Sarah is kind of got the concept for those. It's really similar to the Rumble, where it's a 2-gun event. You're running with body armor on, and you're doing fitness in between, but it's not like fitness where you're like running a stage and then you're running up to like a skier in the middle of the stage, or like a rower. Like you're like doing like things that are like, carrying a 220-pound dummy, whatever down, and you're jumping in the back of a dump truck and shooting out of it. You're shooting out to like 500 yards and stuff. So what I like about it is it's a good mix between, so, you're shooting two guns, and, you really are like, you're testing your limits of pistol and you're testing your limits of rifle. For both of them, sure, we've actually gone up to 700 yards before. Proving grounds, we've been about 500 off and on. But I mean, they're like true 3-gun, so they're like 3 MOA targets.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of know your like all that stuff, and then you're doing fitness or whatever. Like we did one at the last event in Atlanta at Arena. We did one event where we were shooting it was like some pistol, and then it was like a lot of long range rifle from 3 different positions. But you had a time cap, and if you didn't get all those targets at a time cap, you get like a really, really hard penalty. But as soon as you finished it, you had to go off on a 1.5 mile
Ew.
And so it's there's a lot of like, okay, so now I just did all that. Now I got to go off and run. But it's been so much fun. It has significantly helped my shooting between the Rumble and the Proving Grounds more than anything else ever could, because I've had to learn to like be pissed, like tired and like burn out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go shoot, out to 500 yards on a 3 MOA target, and it is like significantly helped my 3-gun shooting, doing those events and stuff. And so when you don't have body armor on, and you're not being smoked from carrying like whatever,
it's easier.
You're just running a 3-gun. Yeah, it really has helped. But they're so much fun.
Ugh,
they really
fun.
are. They're like hair blast.
How many juniors and how many like women shoot these things?
Oh, juniors. There hasn't been a lot of juniors. A significant amount of women. There's actually a lot of females that have shot the tactical games before. And the tactical games, fitness wise, is like significantly like more amped. I mean, it is definitely like a professional athlete level. That's why you get guys like Jacob Hebner and stuff doing it. But you get a lot of these females that come over, because a lot of people think that what we do in the Proving Grounds and the Rumble is actually what the tactical games is going to be. And they go shoot at tactical games, and they go, oh, that's not what I thought. Right. I didn't know it was going to be doing something back and forth, doing a bunch of heavy stuff 5 times, kneeling down behind a barricade and shooting. Not saying there's people that love that sort of shooting, but a lot of them met a really, really good amount of people that have come, male and female, that have come from shooting at tactical games. Like, oh, this is what I thought tactical games was. The majority of them have been females. So we have a pretty good. I mean, it's not like you're still very like male dominant.
It's the usual,
females that are shooting it. Like we've had Jessica Hook, and we've had Tony Cowden's wife come out and shoot the Rumble. Like we've had a pretty good amount of people come out and shoot the Rumbles and stuff like that.
So are those red dot on pistols or irons only? I mean, you just run whatever.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Yep, you can run whatever you want. Suppressors, lasers, multiple red dots. It's whatever you want. And what I think is interesting is like, I've spent over 15 years in special operations, and deployed 11 times, and I'll go and I'm like as slick as can be, and I'll go shoot with some civilians that have pouches galore and all this stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? And they're like, well, this is my setup. I'm like, bro, it's gonna get in the way. Like you're gonna get your sling stuck, or whatever. Well, yeah, this is what I would shoot. I'm like, bro, you're a civilian, like like you're a dentist. Like you don't need pouches on your back and a grenade pouch and all this stuff,
Oh my god.
And I've seen dudes they can't get their rifle off because their sling's stuck, and they can't do this. Their pouches aren't working, and I'm literally just as like slick as can be with like
Right.
2 like rifle and 2 pistol. And so it is really interesting to see people kind of come out to shoot these things and what they run, and because you can shoot whatever you want. Some guys shoot helmets. One of the Sherb's categories is like you shoot with a helmet on, because there's a lot of guys that bought ballistic helmets and they want to see how it runs with their helmet and all.
They don't want to put their like $6,000 night vision on there too and try that out.
Oh yeah. Like, oh my gosh! It's like, wait, you don't want to shoot night vision? No, man, I don't.
That would get destroyed.
They're done that. I'm totally good at not doing that, but they're just really fun because it's just they really hold to kind of multi-gun standard as far as like the way the targets are and all stuff, but it's just kind of a different entity. It's a lot of fun.
So with all of these things that you shoot and all the different divisions and stuff, and I know you dry fire a lot, so we can talk about that too, but how do you train mentally? Do you still think you have like room to work on things mentally? And then how do you train like physically for all this stuff?
So physically, I think I'm about to be 40, and I think my job has always kind of pushed me to just be somewhat physically fit.
Yeah.
There's times in my life I wish I could have been fitter. But I think part of it is I've never wanted to be the weakest link, and I've always wanted to be able to, like, hey, if I had to pick up a dude that was 200 pounds and carry him somewhere, I could.
Yeah.
I've been asked by people that like work military. They're like, well, could it be like, is it more endurance? Is it more like physical fitness? I think it's definitely like there's a really good mix. I've known guys that were just beasts, muscles everywhere, but they couldn't on the quarter mile. And I knew guys that were like huge runners and endurance athletes, and they couldn't pick up a 100-pound person. I think you kind of have a thing with that. And, a lot of it, like physical fitness wise, is just I've always just wanted to be able to, like, if I need to save somebody and I need to get somebody from like point A to point B, as long as that's all I can do, that is okay with me.
Yeah.
And the other things come with it. I have seen that struggle, especially with like the Rumble, the way Sherb runs it. His stuff's really, really heavy. And I've seen some really outstanding elite shooters just get soul crushed.
So is that where you're on heavy stuff like that? And I've done this. I used to way back in the day, like way back. I did like the Tough Mudders, the Spartan race by myself.
Yeah.
Like I signed up for the shit by myself, but like drive to Atlanta by myself. Like I was psycho. My dad's like, you're paying people to electrocute you. Like you're crawling through rubber. I'm like, yeah, it's fun. But it's like leading up to that for sure. I think there's like a week, especially with stuff where it's outdoors, it's hot, and you've got a lot of extra gear and weight on you. Like, are you hydrating? Are you eating a little bit better, maybe more protein, caloric? Like, what are you doing for that?
It is definitely like, I will say for the Rumbles for sure. I've shot 3 proving grounds this last year. They were challenging. They were nothing like the Rumbles. Sherb's Rumbles, I like truly like, I like plan out like a week ahead. I'm like not drinking alcohol. I'm hydrating. I'm at least getting 4 liters a day. The morning before, I'm like trying to do like perfect nutrition. I have a really good buddy, Eddie, who's just a beast of a human, that has kind of like helped me with like a good like nutrition plan, like like oatmeal and like all this stuff. And then an hour before, like I'll bring I love like what's it called, Accelerate, or what's the other one? Any of those are like really high carbohydrate. I like really, really try over there, because he had one last year where it was a Skedco drag. It was far. I think the total thing was like 200 yards, maybe a little bit less. It was like 200 and something pounds.
I hate Skedco dummies.
It's the closest I've ever thought I was going to go to a rabbit tail in my life. Like I got done and it was like, I was like, I thought my legs were going to explode. It was that
Oh.
bad. And those like I truly the hydration and the nutrition and all that stuff.
But the recovery
Really,
as well. I mean, like, there is a recovery period too. Like, so many people, we did it poorly, but that wasn't too strenuous. We're like, we went to Waffle House. However,
yep.
I think there's value as well in what you do with your body afterwards. I mean, I'm learning this. This is something that I've been working on for like 2 years now. Because after a match, like, I'm hurting, but you need to recover with the right food, nutrition, and stuff as well.
Yep. Especially, in most major matches, they're 3 days long. And I learned, so Joe Farrell has a really cool thing he always says. He's like, you should be eating and drinking a little bit of something between every stage.
Every stage, yeah.
And he does a great, like, intro to 3-gun class, like a 2-day long thing that I did one time. And that was, he breaks down even that. And he's like, in between stages, you have to make yourself, like, eat and drink. And, it's just like any sport, but yeah. Are there dudes? Hey, a Matt Kalish can go get freaking drink like
he
can get lit up the night before and come out and dominate.
So annoying.
I think Matt, I think if the more hungover he is, Matt Kalish is going to dominate even more. He's 100%. A freak, but there's a lot of us. But there's a lot of us that you're right. Like you have to pay attention to that stuff, and it's I mean it's brain health too, as far as like you may just be that like split millisecond faster, but that's where like the top guys, JJs and all those dudes, they are like specifically going out of their way.
So SHOT Show. So we go. JJ gets in town on Saturday. So where do we go? I think we're going to have a nice healthy meal, maybe some sushi, maybe something, a little bit nice, but no, fried chicken chain in Vegas with fried chicken, gravy that you're supposed to dip the fried chicken in, not your potatoes. Like, what the hell? So I'm there at dinner. I'm like, really? It's like, I'm going to get a bucket to go too. And I was like, JJ, bro, like, no, he is healthy. But this is SHOT Show.
But those like top level competitors, like they look at it, because the thing with the shooting sports is, you have everybody, right? You have like
everybody,
professionals, and then you have the like everyday dude that's like, I'm going to shoot this Bushmaster, this $400 Bushmaster that I got. And so you kind of get a mix, but if you want to be competitive, like definitely the fitness and the nutrition and the hydration, like really coming. I mean, there's been times where, on a 3-day match, I've been an idiot and got a little bit too drunk on one of the nights. And that next day, it's like, man, like, you can tell something's wrong. You're like, man, I'm not shooting my best and stuff.
We do 30 to 45 miles just in walking and resetting, and like that it doesn't feel like it in the moment. But when you look at your Garmin after, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like 3-gun is a lot more, I think, endurance based. You have those short bursts of stages, but it is endurance, and that's the long haul.
It is. It's a lot, especially on a 10-stage, 3-day match, and you're walking back and forth and back and forth. Yeah.
And 3 guns per stage, which I love, but it's like, all 3 every time. Figure it out. Like, just about.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Like, and then you're like driving home from the match on like a Sunday night. You're like, why am I exhausted? Like, that's exactly why you're exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or because we have a bunch of beers the night before.
That's true. The mental game of stuff, though, like we've all failed. We've all failed our mental game for sure. I think knowing our squad alone, I know guys that were like, oh, I don't care about this match. I'm here for fun. I haven't shot in a while. And then they cared, right? Or it's like, oh, I just bombed a stage and I need a minute and I'm pissed and I don't want to talk to anybody. Or I don't think a lot of us carried stuff into the next stage, but it was still frustrating. Do you train for that? Do you plan for that?
Another thing, so Joe Farrell told me one time we shot the Area 6 championship a few years ago, and I had a really bad stage, and he walked up and he's like, all right, man, 5 minutes starting now. Yeah. I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you have 5 minutes to be as pissed off as you want, angry as you want, bitch and moan and whatever, but he's like, 5 minutes, you gotta let it go. Like, you know what, man? Like, you're right. Like, I am the guy, I go shoot with these really top level dudes, and maybe it's just because I didn't even my introduction to like shooting sports like way later in life, but I have learned every lesson that you could possibly learn. I have been DQ'd in every
Yes.
way.
Yes.
I have been the idiot. The first year I ever started shooting, first time I ever like built my own gun, I put a compensator on, a muzzle brake on upside down. Bill Powell loves to tell that story. I
Who
didn't
does?
know.
Who does?
Bill Powell.
Oh.
Bill Powell loves to tell that story. I didn't know. I had no idea. I all I knew is I really liked shooting, and I really wasn't introduced to it. Like I grew up in Idaho. Like
Sure.
we had guns, but shooting sports was not like a thing.
Yeah.
And I have learned every lesson that you could possibly learn, and I'm still learning. It's like I'll something will happen. Matt Martinez is a good friend of mine, and the dude's been shooting for a really long time. And I'll do something, and I'll write him, and I'll be like, dude, man, this happened, and he'll be like, yeah, idiot, like you didn't know better. And I'm like, no, I never thought about that, right? Like I never thought that if I leave my shotgun out in 20-degree weather, that it would cycle. But I have definitely learned every lesson out there, and I still have probably, this year I probably still have 50 more lessons that I learned. And I think a lot of it is just like it's accepting that's going to happen, but then too, like actually learning from it.
Yeah.
Like, because I know dudes that make the same mistakes over and over again, and you're like, come on, man, like,
Yep.
a lot of it's just it's learning and like laughing about it and knowing that like, okay, like I'll suck this up, and I know I won't finish where I want to, but I know that next time these things are going to help me be better.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You get guys out there that have never made it. Freaking, I know guy, freaking Joe Farewell. The first time he was ever DQ'd ever was Memorial 3 Gun in 2020. He'd been shooting for 10 years, had never been DQ'd for a match.
Yep.
My first match ever, I got DQ'd.
My first major 3-gun match, and Joe was there for it. 9 shots of shotgun, dumped it, went running. The empty, unloaded pistol, but went flying out of the holster out of the ground.
Yep.
And I was there for 5 days, the 2 days of RO shooting, then 3 days of the main match as an RO. So it was a long weekend.
Yeah, been there. I went down to Area 6 like 2018, and
I was
on my
there.
second stage, I went to load, and I was loading slugs, and I hit my shotgun wrong, and it almost came out of my hand, and I grabbed it with my thumb in the magwell, and when I pulled up and went to load, I shot a slug off, and that was it. And I had drove like 9 hours to Florida, and I turned around and drove back. Like we've been there, right? And so when you talk about like mental game, I think a lot of it is there are a lot of people that take it a little bit too serious.
Yeah.
And you're going to make mistakes. Like we're running around with 3 firearms that are really hard to master.
Yeah.
I mean, people
spend their entire lives just to master one, and we're trying to do 3.
And we're trying to master 3 of them, and then you're trying to remember that this is different than this, and
I was saying, not just to say that is like our sport has a bajillion different targets, a bajillion different distances, a bajillion different cadences. I mean, there's no uniformity to it at all.
No.
I just thought about
not at all. It's all different. It's like you have to remember that you're going to shoot up to this point. You're going to dump this, and then you're going to grab your shotgun, and you're going to load this. So like there's so much in there. If you take yourself too serious, like sometimes just like Joe says, man, you got 5 minutes to be pissed off and whatever, and then just let it go and move on. And accept it,
Yep. I forgot to tell you this or ask you this. Did you ask Matt about his Batman experience at SHOT Show?
No, I haven't. I just saw him. I need to.
Dude,
the pictures
you have to ask him about running into me at the cry party and not recognizing me at all. 0%. To the point where I was like, Matt, and he looked at me. He's like, yeah, I'm Matt. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but he's Batman.
He's Batman. But no, I was incognito, even though I had no mask on. Like, It was the dress, I think, that he's like, I
yeah, you're
never.
throwing everybody off.
Yeah. It's like, you're a female under all that? Who knew?
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I need to get to SHOT Show one of these years. It always like sneaks up, and it's like, man, SHOT Show's like
It's the same time every year.
I
and
know.
It's announced a year in advance, bro. Every year, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Have a lot.
It looked like a lot of fun this year, but for sure,
Yeah.
It looks like a good time. I need to go to one of these. I'll ask him. I'll ask him about his experience.
And then be like, oh god. Anyway, switching gears, do you want to talk about anything else competition wise? Because I do want to dive into some of like the concealed carry and that kind of mentality and having a family plan. But do you want to talk about anything else?
I don't think so. What you're going to shoot Battle for the South?
Yep, and then of course Fall Brawl again. And then I just heard last night, I don't know if it's true, that Donnie was gonna not do the shotgun matches. IPSC shotgun. I
don't know, to be honest with you. I had heard that he didn't have a lot of people sign ups, but I don't know.
So I wanted to do those two because I'm trying to qualify for surprise World Shotgun Shoot.
Oh yeah.
That's what I want to do. I do want to do a tactical games match, but I want to do a team match and have a teammate, and that should be my intro. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So let me know if you ever want to do that. Although you would have to pick up the rifle portion.
I
gotta learn.
Hey, you pick up the pistol, I'll pick up the rifle. We'll be good.
Done.
We can do that.
We can do that. Then the Ladies Invasion 3-gun match will be really fun. But I told you this, I'm going to be very painful this year. I'm shooting like 7 or 8 PRS matches, and I'm shooting as an amateur in the gap grind at the end of the year. So I'm forcing myself, though, to learn rifle.
Yeah, it will it's gonna change your rifle shooting.
I know. So 2024 might be the year of Kenzie doing well.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that's what it takes sometimes, right? Is like just challenging yourself in another way, another discipline.
Yeah, because I have no clue. I don't know. What about you? What are you shooting?
Man, it's this year. I'm not like a big planner with something. Of course, I always shoot kind of the same, or I have for a while. Now there's no I don't know. I'm definitely shooting the Battle for the South, Fall Brawl. Still got to see, about Pro-Am. And I really haven't looked. The issue is just position at work. It's really hard for me to get away right now.
We only have 5 options of 3-gun matches too right now.
Yeah, 3-gun is. It's been a while. The last time I shot out west was 2 years ago, and I shot the high desert match out in Idaho, which was a blast. And I shot with my uncle Benny Cooley.
What?
Yeah, Benny's my uncle.
Okay, what?
My mom's brother. Yeah.
What?
He's the one that really he kind of sparked my.
This explains a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so Ben is so Ben's my mom's brother.
Cool.
We
Hi,
grew up
Ben.
in the same town. Oh yeah, I love Ben. He's done a 3-gun. He's had a conversation with him. He's pretty much done. No more 3-gun for that guy.
That's sad.
Long distance matches.
I saw Andy Horner at SHOT Show.
Yeah.
We're done. We're never hosting a match ever again. And I was like, you've said that before. Never say never.
Yeah.
Still early.
It's guys like Ben. Ben's had his ankle fused, and 3-gun's a lot of running and moving and stuff. And the way it's taken off, it's definitely more I guess
young person.
It is a more fitness. It's a more physical match, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of these matches there's a lot more movement.
Yeah.
Which is hard for him. The thing with 3-gun though is people companies are there's been a lot of matches that have burned companies. There's a lot of sponsors that don't like to sponsor companies because they're not getting the return.
Yep.
They're not getting any sort of publicity and stuff back for it. It's and there's some bad taste in people's mouth with Multigun. And then it's been a while since I shot out west, but a lot of these, even the ones out west, that are supposed to be like major matches, like they're getting like less than 100 people. So really, kind of the bigger ones are the ones that are happening either down in Texas or out east with us.
Right.
And multi-guns kind of, which is unfortunate. It's kind of fizzling out. I mean, I was not a three-gun nation guy, right? Like I came in 2017, so I missed like all that.
That was my first and only 3-gun national major was the one I DQ'd at. So I never shot
Oh,
it.
really? Was
I have no clue.
three-gun nation? Yeah.
Nationals of 2019. Yeah, it was my first 3-gun match. And bloop.
It's I do feel well, to me, for USPSA to claim nationals, like I don't. There's a soapbox I'll stand on. I think that's garbage. USPSA does not take care of multi-gunners. Don't care about multi-gunners. The worst match experience I've ever had was shooting multi-gun nationals and Area 6. I don't like to be anywhere around USPSA. I mean, even at Zoo City matches, like we have very relaxed USPSA standards, but you still get a lot of USPSA guys that are just douchebags. They turn a lot of people away. And so to me, like when you have some of the USPSA nationals claim a national title, that's garbage to me. I know Jason and those guys are kind of working on some stuff that it's not going to be like it's not going to be anybody's going to own anything. I think they're maybe potentially looking at like you take like 6 major matches, and the last match of the year, if you get enough points, you're going to become like in that. I think there's some flavor with that because people, I think everybody got a bad taste in their mouth from 3-Gun Nation.
Yeah.
It's disappointing that we don't have a true like championship, and everybody wants to claim championship.
Right. Yeah, we don't really have a rule set. We don't have one governing body, and we don't really know what's going on right now.
Yeah. But you know what? We love shooting multi-gun.
I know, it's so much fun. I mean, I do like big boy rules too. I understand. Like, I don't like going to matches where it's like this heightened fear of the guns, whether they're like not in the holster, or if they're not left back, or they're not flagged, or they're pointed in the wrong way, or they're 5 feet from a berm, blah. It's a lot. And so I don't think that helps with gun culture because we're instilling more fear. I've talked about that before on several podcasts where it's like, it's so bad because how ROs are too. And I've been an RO. I'm a certified CRO. Like, not that that means anything, but I've seen these ROs that are like, make sure you're pointing the PCC in here. Don't point it up while you're unloading or flagging or whatever it is. I'm like, it's not safe nor unsafe. And it's the same thing if you're doing a pistol. But I mean, that's why 3-gun, it's like, you know how to load a gun, keeping the chamber flag in. You'll be fine.
Yep.
It'll be fine. Just don't point at anybody. You'll be also fine. Just don't point it anywhere.
I'll never forget it. Multi-gun nationals in 2020, where I had a loaded shotgun, and I had to ask an RO if I could change a choke.
Yeah.
And they had to stand there and watch me change a choke because my tube was loaded. Mm-hmm. I was like, "This is ridiculous! Like, this is stupid. You're treating us like children, and then you're expecting us to shoot like mature adults." Yeah, it's disappointing a little bit, and I kind of play it by ear. I have really enjoyed shooting like the Rumble. Sure does these amazing night matches, the Proving Grounds. Like I think I shot more of those this last year than multi-gun. Cool. But multi-gun is still my favorite by far.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I think I just got to play it by ear this year, like when I'm going to shoot.
Okay, well, I'm ready to squat up and eat Waffle House. But okay,
switching
gears. Yeah, Waffle House. That was a really fun time. Okay, yeah. So for people listening, you could talk about maybe even military families from your perspective of like when you're on active duty and you're away. Like, how do you teach your wife, especially with a young kid in the house, like how to have a gun prepared or how to keep the gun out of the kid's hand. Daily carry, getting in that mindset. All of those things are really important. So, do you want to speak to a little bit of that?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of lucky. My kids they've been going to this little teeny tiny private Christian school here in Southern Pines since I've lived here since 2013. And they actually they're huge 2A advocates. And they actually teach like gun safety in the school. And it's like the other day I had my Glock 34 sitting up here. My oldest, who's 15 now, she's like, "Dad, can I see your gun?" And I was like, "Sure." So I knew it was unloaded, right? But checked it, handed it to her. First thing she did, she checked the chamber, she got like the perfect grip, like came up and was like, dry firing with it. I was like, oh my gosh, like she doesn't shoot matches. My son he shoots matches. He loves it. But as far as that, I think one is like just being open and like talking about, the firearms are here. We this is why we have them.
Mhm.
I think it helps being competitive shooter because they see guns more than
A lot of
like a
people.
protection thing.
Yeah.
So guns are always out in my house. You go out in my garage right now. I think my heavy stuff is sitting in my garage,
I'm like,
like yours.
which
Like
would
it
you tell
literally
her?
looks like yours right now. Yeah, exactly. Like there's
5 here,
guns everywhere.
3 up there. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's talking about it, and we even talk. I have certain like guns in the house that are for protection, and
Mhm.
I've had conversations with my kids of like if I'm not here and something happens, like this is how you put in action and all that stuff, I think it's twofold. I think one is it's training them and exposing them, and then two, it's being open. That they're here for like there's certain protection, but then there's when you're in the shooting community, like of course I'm always going to have guns out
Yeah.
because I'm cleaning them or I'm fixing them or I'm doing this, and they don't
Tinkering,
usually tap in
changing
with
the trigger.
exactly.
We're
Take
really bad.
pulling the bent gas ring off in the middle of a match, yeah. There's always something.
Yep.
It's but we'll also go, and again, back to the Zoo City guys. The Zoo City guys are like the biggest advocates for junior shooters I've ever seen,
Mhm.
and they go out of their way to build matches or welcome junior shooters and give them friggin' free ammo and guns or whatever they want to shoot, and they just, my son is 11, or he just turned 11, and he's been shooting for a few years now. But like, he always shoots like PCC. Now he's transitioned in like two guns. He shoots PCC and a pistol, and like he'll like shoot, he'll get done, and like the whole squad's like cheering for him, and you know giving him high fives and stuff. And that's what I think is really
Awesome.
awesome, is just encouraging. But to go back to what we were talking about, I think a lot of it is having just open discussions as a gun owner and a father. And, same with my wife. Like my wife didn't grow up with real like firearms in the home. They weren't that way. But like when we got together, like I would take her to the range and teach her, and she's very comfortable around guns. Not quite her thing, she's not going to go compete, but at the same time, she's very comfortable around guns. She
Yeah.
wants to, if she had to defend herself, she could.
Yep.
So that's always, I think it's just
It's the
that.
normalization. I talk about this also with like prepping, like being not a prepper, but preparing medical gear or even like just body armor, and think about defensive stuff because you're not going to always pull a gun like on things. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's funny when I look back of like, it was never like, oh my God, there's a gun in the house. I can't even remember the first time I probably saw a gun. I was probably not even old enough to remember, right? But like dad had them everywhere. He still has them everywhere. Doesn't
Uh-huh.
surprise me when I open a drawer and I'm like, really?
There's a guy.
Like, really, dad? But it was interesting. I was home for the holidays. And we have small nephews, they're 3 and 7 now. And I just remember dad and I are really good about like checking ourselves. We're like, hey, are the guns up? Are they locked up? Are they in the safe? Are they unloaded? Like, no ammo's nearby, whatever it is, just making sure that we have a plan too when families around. Still have our carry gun, but it's in use on us, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that
Definitely.
stuff is important. And we do our best too with like teaching. Like you said, if you can teach them, get them the safety rules. Like she's already rechecking the chamber. Like that's so
Mhm.
freaking cool to hear that when you're like, oh, I did that. I taught her that. She did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
First
like,
checkbox.
man, what a proud dad moment,
Mhm. Mhm. I'm not a dad or a mom, but I get a proud moment like when Malin, bless her heart, I talk about it all the time. But we went to the range and I've like transformed her. Like she now has her permit because of me. I taught her that class. She carries a gun now. She has a knife. And we went out to the range and like there was a package I needed opening. She pulls out her own knife. This is baby steps, y'all. Like cuts the package and I say nothing, but she could see my face. I was like, I'm really excited that I taught you.
That's awesome.
you know,
That's awesome. Yeah, it is.
the win.
You hear about kids that accidentally shoot themselves or somebody else, and it's always they had nobody even ever exposed them to firearms. So to them, a gun was like a toy, or a gun was this
Yeah.
like this magical entity, and it's like, teaching them like one, especially like you take a kid out and you have them fire a gun and they go, oh, like this is not a toy.
Mm-mm.
Like there's a lot with this. My son, like he's always like, so when can I buy my own gun? I'm like, well, you got to get a little bit older, buddy. But like the fact that you're thinking of that now and you want to do that, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to like watch them like shoot and whatever, like
Absolutely.
either go shoot a match or just have like plink around and have fun.
Have you taken him hunting yet?
No, not yet. Probably this next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Here it's like in North Carolina, you get 6 deer a year, so it's like sit in a blind and just shoot them. Like it's not like growing up in Idaho where you had to walk in and
True.
freaking find them. Like here, you just go sit and shoot them. But I think next year we'll take them hunting. So
that's super cool. See, that's the stuff I want to watch more people hunt now.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, like I have an addiction to it, but like even fishing, whatever it is, I made Malin fish as well. She loved and hated that, so she had to bait her own hook, get the fish off the hook. It's like these are the rules. So if someone went with me, like, okay, you're gonna skin the deer now, and they'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm like,
yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. Today is the day.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. It's fun to like take them. That's kind of how I grew up. Was just that sort of just hunting and fishing and like all that stuff. So it is fun to like take them and do that stuff.
Because you're experiencing, and that's what it is. You're experiencing their first time through your eyes, and you haven't had that moment in years and forever. So I think that for me, that's why I get so excited, because I forget what that feels like.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, well, like my son wants to so bad when he's 18, he wants to go skydiving. And, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But then I would forget, like, man, like what that moment feels like for the first time, and like be able to go skydiving with him, 7 years from now. But I'm like, oh, that'd be, because we've gone to the wind tunnel, and it's just so much fun to like go there with the wind tunnel with them, and like, oh yeah, we're experiencing like I remember like what I get to be a part of like their first experiences with that. Same with like the shooting and all that sort of stuff, which is pretty awesome.
I love it. Love it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, I could talk to you forever and ever and ever. So, is there anything else that we didn't talk about or cover that you want to talk about? Like, was there anything in the military? Anything on the maybe even, I don't know if you want to go not politics necessarily, but like maybe the state of where we're at right now in the country and everything that's happening. What are some more maybe like initiatives or actions like we as gun owners can take collectively?
Man, man, that's a hard one. Like, I think we're to a point where like we need to not give up any ground. And when it's like you look at the pistol brace thing, and it's like, well, fill out this form and make it legal. Like, how about just don't do it?
Yeah.
Like, I think we're at a point now where like you're always going to have. Okay, so I had a buddy that was in the Rangers with me a long time ago, and he got out. I think he did like 6 years and got out. He's from New York. He moved back to New York, and he got a job at a steel foundry, and I think he's still working there to this day. And about once a month, the sheriffs, what was it, like the sheriffs or maybe one of the federal agencies would pull up in this big truck, and they'd have guns galore in the back of this truck, and they would throw them in this. They would melt them down. Yeah. I mean, he would send me pictures of like guns that would just it'd break your heart to see them.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them were. So remember, this is New York City or New York State.
Okay.
A lot of them are either trust fund babies or they were guns that were inherited, or they were just people that were like, and they changed the law, and they're like, well, I don't want to break the law, and I want to turn it in. And I mean, I'm talking, he would send me pictures of guns. You're like, oh my God.
I would cry.
People were literally melting. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of guns. No, I think part of it is gun owners is, if we do what is right as far as like, we're the ones that are going and we're getting our, like sort of North Carolina, you get a concealed carry, you can purchase a gun, or you can go to the sheriff's office and get pistol permits to purchase firearms. So like, you do it right? You go through an FFL, they do everything, you get your stuff. If we're following like the rules, as far as like to me, that's not ridiculous to ask an American citizen to like show proof of being a good human and a good American, and that you're not a felon.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Like, so there's some people out there that are against it. Like, I'm fine with that. Like that to me, it's the same with like getting a driver's license,
Yep.
or even I don't know, being a. I mean, you can't join the military if you're a felon now. So like, why would I be able to go buy guns? So
Or voting. There's a lot.
or voting.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. Electing a president.
Not funny. It's not funny.
Somehow seems that it
Not funny.
doesn't matter anyways.
Ooh.
But with us, I think it's there's also a point where you have to kind of put your foot down and you have to say like, I'm doing what's right and I'm not going. Like there are some things, because I've been asked before, like, well, are the feds going to come for this thing or whatever? Like we have like 4 times the amount of guns than we do like people in the United States. And then now you're expecting like law enforcement and federal officers to like go like door to door and take your guns. Like it's not going to happen. It's not a thing, So it's like just stay your ground, but also at the same time it's like do what's right.
Yeah.
Hey, I think the worst rule in the world is that I can't carry a gun on a military installation.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. But right now,
Pensacola NAS is where my dad works, and so like that shooting was pretty recent still.
Yep.
And I read it in a book recently. I don't remember if that was the Osama bin Laden one or not. There was some book that I read though, and I was like, "There's my hometown."
Yep.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't, and to me, it's like I can go anywhere. We were on a military installation where we're bringing firearms back and forth. We can do all this other stuff, but I can't carry and protect myself. But at the same time, like I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, the rules right now are that you can't carry on a military installation, so I'm going to follow those rules.
Yeah.
Right. And because what ends up happening is like, the guys that try to like not follow the rules and do what's wrong, then they get stopped. They check at the gate.
Oh, I know. You can't bring a knife onto a base anymore.
Yeah. I can't tell you. There's been multiple times where I've like got like started driving to work, and I'll like look down. I'm like,
turn around.
There's a gun, and I turn around. And I have to go back.
Yep. So
I don't like the rules, but that's the rules, And like I would much rather for things like that, because that's not taking away my right.
Sure.
That's going on. You can talk about federal land and stuff.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do what's right for that little thing, but those other things of like, the new pistol brace stuff, and saying, oh, well, if you have one, you need to fill out this form and turn it like
right pass.
You did what was right at the time being and stuff, but I definitely think we're in a really weird place where a lot of our freedoms are really being challenged and jeopardized.
Well, and our First Amendment's being taken away from us as well. And I understand there's like private platforms, but like right now is very interesting for what I do for work. A lot of our YouTubers are shut down, their content's shut down, they can't monetize it, and they're not even like selling firearms or anything like that. And we've been told even companies that make bags, if they hold ammo, like they're part of now the ammo manufacturing or firearms companies.
Holy cow, really?
No, it's really bad to the point too where like there was a YouTuber, oh my gosh, that was educating. It was just all education. You can't show how to assemble firearms anymore, disassemble firearms. So I'm talking about instructional videos that would potentially save a life or teach someone how to check a gun, take down a gun, clean a gun. Those videos are being removed left and right. So we're talking about education. And I understand, again, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, privately owned, but what the heck are we going to do? I mean, that's how I learned how to do a lot of the stuff that I don't know how to do.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. There's stuff all the time where I'm like, I bought a SIG 320 earlier this year because the military uses it. It's a great pistol, I am fluent in Glock. I am not fluent in SIG. So like I have to like look up things, you know. It's like you take that away.
I
You
know.
even look at one of my favorite YouTube channels is Donut
Yeah, that's who I'm
Operator.
talking about too.
Yeah, and it's like you have a man who is prior law enforcement, prior military, who's breaking down police videos, pretty non-biased a lot of times. Like sometimes he jokes around, but it's pretty non-biased. And it's like he can't get any money off it anymore, you know. So it's just like it is. It's pretty disgusting. Of like our
Yeah.
First Amendment.
And this is our livelihoods and our jobs too. So like that's
Right.
where I've been trying to relate to people that aren't gun owners and aren't gun friendly, and that's fine. But it's like, think about if you couldn't do your career or your passion or your job, which is a legal job, legal, completely legal. Like that's what blows my mind. By the way, did you see his new truck with the mounted firearm?
No, really? Is that what I saw? I actually maybe I saw something on Instagram today. Something.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are they called again when they're like vehicles with the mounted stuff on top? What are they called? There's a name.
Like the what?
There's a name for them, like the vehicles that are overseas that like you can mount. What is it called?
Well, there's tons of like.
There's a
like
one
Humvee?
word. Say it again.
Like a Humvee?
No, but there's one word for what all of those are. Oh my god, somebody's screaming at us right now.
Like a technical.
Thank you. That's what he thought.
Technical. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome. But it is really like pretty. Well, really, you know, kind of about 2019 was really where it started. I mean, North American Rescue, North American Rescue Products. Actually, some of my good friends work for the company, and all that stuff. Their main page, main Instagram, which has 100,000 followers, they've been posting great stuff for years, got suspended a couple weeks ago for something that is educational, and now they've had to start another one. You know, and it's like, what in the world is going on? Like,
yep. Ergo Grips lost theirs 3 days ago, their whole entire Instagram, but I told them to go like submit a ticket, but they just got deleted 24 hours, like gone. And they
who
did
was it?
a ticket. Ergo Grips. So they just sell grips and accessories.
I saw you post something like that. That's crazy.
Now they're back, but this is literally 3 days ago. And I'm talking about this has continued to happen, like you said, since 2019 and before. But right now, like in this month in time, like I am very, very nervous for a lot of people that are, I don't care if you don't like influencers, but like there are influential people that are legit people, like you're talking about, you know, Brandon Herrera, Donut Operator, even me. I had a video taken down that I shared of this dude doing a knife thingy, and I was like, I would have hurt myself 10 ways to Sunday. And they're like, okay, that's violence. I'm like, technically that'd be self-harm, not violence. But I didn't actually hurt myself. I'm not threatening. And I asked them to review it, and they're like, nope, you're flagged. And now if you start typing in a lot of our competitive shooters usernames in Instagram to tag them on a post, they're all shadow banned, like all of them. I can't even remember some people's usernames, so I'm having to like back out and go find them because they are being shadow banned unless you type every single letter.
It's crazy. You know, Joe Farewell, every time he comes up here, he stays at the house and we'll sit there and talk. He's been talking about shadow banning for years, and like he'll have like a video that will be exponentially like daily, like blown up, and then all of a sudden it's like nothing. And he kind of showed me that. I've actually switched my account just so I can kind of like see stuff, and I'm like,
crazy.
It is. It's like it's really crazy, like how that works, and then like followers and so. You know, I'm not Joe Farewell famous. But like I'll like look at it and he'll like show me stuff. I'm like, that's crazy, man. Like, you know,
people like me we can't grow our accounts anymore, period, because they're not gonna be shown on the feed. They're not gonna be showed in hashtags. By the way, I try to look for like a lot of people to work with hashtags. If you search rifle, pistol, shotgun, like basic stuff, nothing relative to those guns come up at all, period.
Really?
Like cars, random Asian stuff, like snow. I mean, like nothing related, because they won't show it, even though there's probably 5,000 posts in the last minute on those things. So I'm going to ramble too much, but like there is a real threat to communication, to education, to our First Amendment rights. I understand these are private companies, organizations, but this is people's livelihoods and jobs, and it's legal. It's legal. I can't repeat that enough for people. So
it's very. There's nothing about doing that that's illegal at all. You know, especially if you're following like the Constitution and you're following like lawful, like purchasing guns the right way, and you know you're not out there showing some like crazy like we're doing it right. You know, It
Oh,
is.
but porn
It's
stars can post, and like child porn can post, and like all this great stuff. It's
oh
like,
yeah, that's like normal now. It's
yeah,
crazy. Like it is. The accept what is accepted as like okay is like mind blowing to me.
no, we won't go
You
into
know,
that.
as a dad, it's really scary. It
Yeah,
really is. Like it truly. You're like, oh my gosh, like what
yeah.
the hell? You know, like
And you walk
and
a very delicate line on what you are not afraid, but you are afraid to say, because if you say one thing wrong, canceled, fired, removed.
yep,
Yeah. So
yeah. It's and you're right because now everything is done on. I mean, we don't know. So go back to Benny, right? So like Benny was way social media. That was Soldier of Fortune days. That was, all those gun magazines. Like you knew who like the top shooters were because you went, you got the magazine and you read through it. It was like this thing, and every month you got like you went got your magazine and you did that, and that's where you learned a lot of those old shooters back in the day because they didn't exist. And then when they started broadcasting like Three Gun Nation and stuff, then you kind of had it on TV, but that was how it was, right? And like those guys made their money off doing well, being featured in magazines and stuff. And now it's like it's a dime a dozen. Everybody's social media has you know blah 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 3 gun, blah 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 shooter, blah blah blah. Everybody has a jersey, like,
yeah.
and it's like I stopped wearing a jersey a while ago because Matt Matt Martini's like, it's silly, man. Like, why are you, unless the company's like paying for you to like wear this thing, like you have to get a new one like every 6 months anyways, or every year. Like, why are people wearing jerseys? And now, that you support any sort of organization or foundation, and you can get a jersey with your name on it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like there's nothing against people being proud of what they do, but I would just much rather just like see people shoot and do well than like all that stuff. So when it goes to like social media, a lot of these people are making their money off social media, and that's how they're known, and that's how they're And then when you're shadow banning it, or you're I don't know, hushing their ability to like publicize themselves and make money, it's pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, Top
It,
Shot,
it
American Air
really is.
Gunner, like all these. Top Shot was on TV. American Air Gunner is not on really TV. I mean, I get the outdoor channel. It's like semi-watch, sort of, not really, but like we
Mhm.
will never see guns on TV ever again, ever.
Nope, I agree. I agree. It popped up the other day. It was like one of those like Facebook moments from like a year ago, and I had posted. It was like, how is what was it? It was oh, it was like cornhole. It was like championship cornhole, and I was like, how is cornhole a nationally televised thing on ESPN and competitive shooting? It's like it's ridiculous to me,
I know.
things like that. And you're like,
But it's also
but
not
yeah,
funny.
you're
Like
right.
it's ridiculous, but it is very frustrating. So yeah, from my standpoint, like I know people that did well off Top Shot, like my friend Caleb, Chris did, Michelle Viscuzzi. I mean, they have a huge following and a career now because people see the numbers. I know those
Mhm.
aren't as important, but they see the numbers like, oh, huge following, huge influence, blah, blah, blah. And that's awesome. And they were easily found. Um, Nowadays, like if you're like me, getting into the industry is really hard on that social front just because of the shadow ban and the block stuff and no exposure media whatsoever unless it's negative.
Yeah. No, true, true. Yeah.
Gun world is
I
not.
also I hate that that's a thing. I also sometimes though I think that there are a lot of people out there that use social media to grow whatever, and they're just not good shooters. And they
They
they're
exist?
getting like sponsor after sponsor, and
No. Really?
people, and it's like, and you're like, wow, you don't even one like a lot of there's certain people that like won't even shoot matches.
Yeah.
They're but
That's a
they're
that's a that's a really annoying to me though, actually. Like when people won't go out there and just shoot or show the world how bad. But like or just go improve. Just be humble.
yep.
Be
The
cool.
so the tactical. I guess we're going to talk about anything. The tactical shooting world is the worst, and there are a dime a dozen. All these dudes, all these retired Navy SEALs, Rangers, Special Mission Unit guys, like dime a dozen. They all, man, we did 20 years of war. tens of thousands of us. We've all done training, and they all want to get out. Oh, look at the next best thing. And you're like, hey man, there's a couple guys that I used to work with. I'm like, hey man, you want to come shoot a match? Nah, bro, I'm really busy. Whatever. But you don't want to shoot a match because you're going to get insanely humbled.
Yeah.
And you think that like your little tactical shooting experience, or like, yeah, you know what, like a lot of them train for a very specific job, and to do a very specific thing which nobody else can do. But then they all want to use that experience to be like, oh, look at me, I'm the best pistol shooter, I'm the best rifle shooter. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Dude, like you won't even touch like a mid-level shooter in a local match.
Yeah.
But none of them are humble enough to come, learn, and then they want to tear apart people on like social media and all this other stuff and talk crap. And it's so I really, Tony Cowden is a friend. I really like Tony Cowden, and Tony's still in the military. He has a huge social media influence and stuff. And man, he gets attacked all the time by tactical shooters. And I'll tell you what, like Tony's a legit shooter, and Tony has come to matches, and I don't see that a lot with a lot of these guys. But man, they love to like attack Tony for stuff he says. And I'm like, man, but Tony can go back up. Maybe he may not be like the best top shooter out there, but like Tony, like if he wanted to, he could show up to a 3-gun match or USPSA, and like Tony would do very well.
Yeah.
And but man, there are a lot of tactical Timmies out there that just want to like destroy him, and it's super disappointing to the community because there's not there's not a lot of support for one another. I think in like the competitive world, like when we shoot like a 3-gun match, we're all like, oh, the kids did an awesome job. It was so much fun. Like we support each other, right? But like outside of that, there's not.
Oh, it's bad, especially behind a keyboard, private profile. Those are my favorite. Like, yeah, I could go in a whole discussion on that all the time too, because that's hard. It's hard to read, and it's hard to look at, and it's hard not to believe it sometimes. But like again, that's not. I don't even know how to say it. It's like, because I've read those comments before about anything, like even the show I was on, it's like, oh my God, these people took 3 hours to build a rifle. It's like, actually, it took me like 35, 40 minutes and I had to paint it, but you didn't see that because it's TV. But I don't need to go defend myself and talk about all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they will never be on a show like that. They will never probably get the opportunity, and they have no idea what it would be like behind the camera as well, because there's a lot of mistakes that get made after that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it is what it is on that stuff. So the world's just a very negative place.
It's true.
So be positive and smile. Don't read the internet. And I'm a big fan of deleting stuff that is unhealthy to like look at or read or think about, because it's not okay. Remove it.
Yeah, I agree. I just stopped. Like I remember when I haven't been on social media too crazy long. I remember when I first a bit trying to like get in stuff like this is stupid. Like if I don't like somebody, either I don't follow them or I won't like their stuff. And if I do, I'm gonna hit the little like sign and I'm gonna comment. And, to me, I try. I may not be the best, but like the people I care about in the community, I try to always support them, even if it's just like a great job. Man, good match.
Or you repost their stuff too, like you put stuff on your story.
Just it doesn't cost you anything.
Correct.
And like just supporting the people that are out there that you support and doing stuff is like.
Oh yeah, and putting.
I don't think we do a good enough job. I really don't. I don't think there's enough supporting of like one another, and like we can all like sit around at the end of a match, like you're talking about for the shoot off. I mean, that was like the best time ever. Everybody's sitting around, the music playing, and we're having a great time. People are drinking and laughing and all this stuff. But at the same time, we don't do a good job of like supporting each other. Like, hey man, you shot a great. I'll tell you this. Like Bobby won, man. Bobby like really. I've always liked Bobby. And Bobby really impressed. So it was me really in Carry Optics. This last one was me and Bobby and Matt. And I was never going to catch those guys after all the things. But like when the 3-gun show posted like top
results,
and everything, like Bobby posted, he's like, "Hey, just want to give big congrats to my boy Hutch. for fighting back and taking third place. Bobby took second, but like,
I know.
dude, that's speaks something of his character, right? Because like Bobby wasn't like, hey, look at me. It was like, hey man, like my boy who we're friends with, like fought really hard back from like 2 really catastrophic things to like get here. I don't think we do that enough, and we like everybody wants to be like the best top.
The higher, the more I get into it, like, I mean, again, I work and live and breathe this. So the more I get into it, it's like the more successful that you are, the more that you put yourself out there and are unafraid to do so, the more there's actual people that want you to fail and want you to do poorly and are looking and waiting for that, right? And they don't want to be supportive, or they're jealous, or they don't get that opportunity to do that. And I don't understand that, because that's not how I am. Like, I want everyone to be successful, to chase their dreams, to be happy. Like, and I want to support them. If you're going to be, I'll support you if you're actually doing something, right? But if you're just going to sit around and make excuses, then I'm not really there for it. But
yeah,
that's where I don't get how people can have that attitude. But again, that's the world that we live in. But yeah,
you were great. Like the first match I've ever shot with you was the Fall Brawl, and like you were like the squad mom. Like everybody, like it didn't matter like who was shooting. You're like over there and you're like clapping and taking pictures, and you're volunteering the film, and like it makes it. To me, there's a group of us that always shoot together. It's myself, it's Dave Harris, it's Mitch Cox, and JK. The 4, and we have others in there, but the 4 of us always try to shoot together. And we do that because we have so much fun.
JK owes us a match. He was supposed to be on our squad. I haven't shot with him.
Him and Dave, and they at the last minute they got told to RO. But you saw how wonderful they were as ROs.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. And they're the most like humble, like cool people. But we ended up having Mitch and
oh God, he's gonna hate me. I just forgot their name.
Just
saw him too at SHOT Show.
Shoots Bear.
Mark.
Yeah, Mark Witt.
Witt.
So much
sorry,
fun.
Mark.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. Love Mark. But what's fun is like I have shot squads with the quote unquote super squads before for a few matches, and I can't stand it. I don't like being where people are way too serious, and I get it, right? Like people want to do the best, but like I shoot better when I am shooting with people that I really enjoy, and they're encouraging me, and they're building me up, and we're laughing, and we're having like a good time. And that's, like those guys are the ones I always go out of my way to shoot
with.
And I've shot. It's like Keith Garcia, man. I've shot a few matches with Keith, and Keith is that guy. Keith is the most like humble, Keith is a friggin' phenomenal shooter. You get in the squad with Keith, and he's just the funnest guy to be around. He's super encouraging. He, like whatever you need, he's going to be there for it. And I love that. Those are the guys I want to shoot around.
Way more fun.
Same with like Joe Farrell. If you ever get into a squad with Joe, Joe's just phenomenal squad mate. And like to me, I shoot better when I shoot with guys like that than when I don't. When you shoot with people that take it too serious, I've shot with dudes. I'm not going to say any names, but I've shot with dudes before that you get a 5-minute walkthrough and they are dominating the walkthrough.
Yeah.
They're not letting you pass. They're spending 3.5 minutes of their like everybody else's time, like in the position that everybody wants to get to.
Yep.
And they're not sharing like stage plans and all that stuff. And
I'm trying not to laugh, but there's people that I just pictured in my head. Like I know exactly.
We all know. Everybody's like, oh yeah.
Or it's like they're going to reset, but really they're going to rewalk their stage plan, even though they're 12 shooters deep, and they just want to I'm like, bro, like this is a match. It's not a serious, no life or death. There's no money. Like you just.
I find I'll tell you, I like to talk, and I'm a big talker, and I can't. There's been a lot of times where I'll be talking to like a shooter or like an RO for like a long time, and I'll like turn around and like the whole stage has been reset and I haven't done anything. I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. Like I didn't do anything. Like I do that all the time, and it's I like feel so bad because I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even help like reset the stage, like, or even if like your gun breaks and like trying to fix it.
Oh yeah,
that's to me.
You can't control that though. Like. That's anxiety in and of itself. When you have to go fix something, you literally can't reset. You're like, I'm the piece of shit squad mate, but like, I really don't have a gun right now. I've been there.
Yeah, there was a couple times in the Fall Brawl where I feel really, really bad right now, but I was like, I have to fix my gun.
We tried to give you several options too, but I understand that too, because I got to the point in my life where I was like, I just really want to shoot mine. Like mine. I paid all this money. I know my guns. I want to shoot mine. Like you can't, Ken. Like can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to like having you in the squad for Battle for the South.
Hell yeah.
Battle for the South is I love Clinton House, but that's also just the kind of the open terrain, but the way that Griffin Group, like you can kind of do everything, and man,
it's nice to have a change of venue.
What's that?
It's nice to have a change of venue too for matches in general. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever shot at Griffin Group before?
Yeah.
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
Our favorite match.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Jason, they definitely kill it out there, and what's cool is like they kind of have like free reign, so
they have a lot of options. Yeah, like that's probably the most
options, and it makes it fun. And what's cool about the Battle for the South is just the way it is and the time of year. It's 2 days, but it's like a really fun 2 days.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Time.
Well, I know we've rambled a lot. So, Chris, I have 2 final questions, really.
Okay.
What piece of advice would you give to the people, we've already said it a million times, but to people listening that should shoot, that want to shoot, have talked about shooting, what do they need to go do?
Just do it.
Do it. There we go.
Just do it.
It's not hard.
Be humble and do it.
Yep.
That's people that are shooters or know how to somewhat shoot that don't want to do it, or people that are not humble.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a new adventure. Like, you got to be humble.
And how many people out there in our community would throw them gear, probably even ammo, even during now, to have them shoot and remove excuses?
90% of them.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. I have given my guns, holsters, ammo. I have had guns handed to me. I've had you name it. Like
same.
It's
no excuses.
The community is amazing.
It is. So
we really have a special community.
You're not on social that much, but for those listening, how can people go follow you on the gram? What's your username? Chris
Touch shooting.
Touch.
Yeah. Touch shooting.
What do I want to know about the touch? Do I want to know, or just leave it alone? Just leave it?
It was so funny story with that. A few years ago, I was shooting like USPSA with PCC. I just got like a PCC. I was like, I want to shoot PCC. And we were shooting in and around this van at Sioux City. And I hide overboard and I burned the van and shot it. And everybody's like, oh, they're giving me crap. And so I went over and I always have a Sharpie with me. And so I signed it.
Sign it.
And I put on the whole, I signed it and I put the Hutch touch. And then it just kind of stuck.
I like that.
RJ and all those guys that was kind of always the thing.
I think I love that story. So
burn it. I instantly signed it. I think it's still in the van. If we ever shoot the brown van at Sioux City, it's still
there. I need photos, guys. We need to have that happen.
Yeah. Awesome. Like the Hutch touch. Or I know there's a bunch of stuff off the Proving Grounds or Sioux City. Yeah. Armory and all that stuff. So,
well, thanks for joining me. Thanks for chit-chatting.
Of course, thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
We probably talk for hours.
We could keep doing it. We'll do a live episode-ish from the match or post the match and talk about that and talk about heavy and get a couple guys. Okay, stay tuned, guys. We're gonna do that after seriously Battle for the South. We need to get Dave and JK done.
That would be a blast.
Let's do that. Okay, so that's planned. Stay tuned for that. Bring in heavy back. I will not be shooting it, but I'll be writing or covering the slaughter. But guys, thanks for tuning into the Red Club podcast. Be sure to subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one. And Chris, look forward to shooting 3 gun with you this year.
Can't wait.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, nice chatting. Talk soon.
All right. Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.